Hello friends, I'm glad you're here. I'm Wendy from Village Cards and Crafts. Today's inspiration comes from one of my favorite rides at Epcot, Living with the Land. This picture was taken while waiting in line, and I love the movement and the vibrancy of the colors. The mural is decorated with quotes that dot the canvas that you can replace with your own sentiment. Let's look at the card I created, and I'll show you how I brought my inspiration to my card. I wanted to make a card for a coworker who just completed some pretty intensive medical treatments, and I thought this was a perfect opportunity to use my inspiration. Let's take a look at some of the supplies that I used today. White cardstock, black cardstock, distress oxide inks in cracked pistachio, salvaged patina, stormy sky, squeezed lemonade, barn door, pine needles, and prize ribbon. I also used some Recollections clear ink and some Ranger embossing powder in gold. Let's take another look at the inspiration wall. I want my sentiment to be in the middle of my card, so I'm going to make the valley towards the center. I'm going to start with 2 pieces of white cardstock that are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches wide. Next, I'm going to freehand cut the hills and valleys section of the card and tape that down. Now this is my favorite part, ink blending. I love ink blending. I do tend to use a lot of color, but you can do whatever makes you happy. In this case, I'm going to use distress oxides, and the first color I'm going to use is cracked pistachio. Next up is salvaged patina. This is a fantastic color that I'm going to put over that cracked pistachio to kind of get some depth. Stormy sky is going to be the last color for the base of our card. It's time to remove that mask now, and I'm going to flip my card over so that I can blend from the top. I am going to use some blue painter's tape on my left hand to hold my cardstock down so that I don't get my fingers all inky. You do want to slightly blend the stormy sky into the green area so you get that blue-green effect that you might think of as an ocean color. The last part of the ink blending involves the use of a firm, flat paintbrush to get those brush strokes like in the original mural. I'm going to use 4 different colors: squeezed lemonade, barn door, pine needles, and prize ribbon to achieve that brushstroke look from the original mural. So the inspiration wall involved wide brushstrokes. I chose to use the flat part to get narrow brushstrokes on my card, but that's a personal choice. You need to do what you feel is best for your own card. I've selected a stamp set by Hip Stamp Hooray that I call Bloom and Grow. The sentiment says, "Grow through what you go through," and I thought that was a perfect sentiment for my friend. I'm going to use my stamp platform to line up my sentiment on my card so that it's even and I can give the stamp at least 2 coats of clear ink. I really want my sentiment to be covered well. I'm going to use a scrap piece of copy paper as a collection system for my Ranger embossing powder. Just going to coat it really well and then tap it off. Well, I ended up with kind of a happy accident because some of the ink from the original background wasn't quite dry, so it actually picked up some of that gold embossing powder as well. I am just touching up some places where I don't want that powder and pouring it back into my container. And then I'm going to heat emboss. Lastly, I'm going to mount my card panel onto a piece of black cardstock, and then I'm going to reflect on my original inspiration. I think I did a pretty good job of capturing the spirit of the wall, and I added a congratulations sentiment to the inside of my card. I find inspiration in the things that I love, like Disney World, and I hope that you can find your inspiration in all the things that you love. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and leave me a comment about what inspires you. Until next time, I'm Wendy. Thank you for joining me today.